Hey, everybody, and welcome to Crossing Kin. I'm Kristen,
And I'm Randy.
and we want to start off by wishing everybody a happy Veterans Day. We hope that all of you who served were honored and blessed on that day. Thank you very much for your service. And we just want to say here at Crossing Kin, we thank everybody who has ever served in the military for keeping our country safe
And their families.
and their
That's
families.
something we
Yes.
never want to discount is the fact that the families um, serve as well by their sacrifice. And we thank you immensely and intensely for that.
So thank you to all of our military men and women and their families for giving yourselves to our country. We thank you very much. So today at Cross and Kin, we are celebrating Veterans Day by counting down our top 10 war movies. These are movies that, let's be honest, focus on wars during history. Now, we go pretty far as history is concerned. So if you've not seen any of these movies, check them out
There's
somewhere.
probably some that we've missed, especially folks my age. War movies have been around since war,
Mhm.
and you want to please understand we've
We've
not
not
by any
seen all the
we
things.
are not a compendium for war movies. These are the films that we have seen that
Mhm.
we have enjoyed and have given us perspective on what it might have been like to have served and gone through that trauma.
As always, we have a few honorable mentions, so we'll just get right into this.
Okay,
Our first honorable mention is the film Devotion. It starred Glenn Powell and Jonathan Majors. I believe it is about Navy pilots. You were the one who watched most of this. I don't remember it
it
very
was a
well.
good film. I didn't know who Glenn Powell.
Was at the time.
I was at the time. Jonathan Majors was a up and coming character. Um,
We don't really talk about him now.
he who shall not be named, so it's one of those films that gives you perspective. It is not this high drama type film, but it is one that gives you kind of a look back and a look into some of the ins and outs of serving in the military, specifically in the Naval Air Force.
I believe it can be streamed on Paramount Plus. Up next, we have Hurt Locker. This movie stars Jeremy Renner and Anthony Mackie. I believe it's during the Iraq War, and it is about the bomb disposal team in Iraq, the guys that wear those big puffy suits and have to go and dispose these terrifying bombs. This movie is terrifying. You can feel the bombs going off, and it's rough. It really is kind of a psychological look at what these guys with such a high adrenaline risky job as part of our military have to undergo. Up next, we have Glory. This film starred Matthew Broderick and Morgan
Freeman.
Freeman. This film is about the Civil War, and it is about the all Negro battalion that Matthew Broderick and Morgan Freeman are leading in the Civil War,
Based on a
which
historical story
mhm,
where a white commander of the Union forces was put in charge of an all black brigade,
battalion.
yeah, battalion, and the things that they went through between all of the cultural things and all of the just becoming a unit,
Mhm.
so to speak. And it is one of Matthew Broderick's rare,
Serious
serious,
roles.
dramatic roles
Mhm.
that I don't think he got enough props
I
for.
was about to say he is
Um,
shockingly good in this movie.
he is good in this film, and it is one that, again, another perspective-giving film that every American probably needs to see.
Bring tissues for this film. Just fair warning. Bring tissues for a lot of these films
Right.
because it's a war. They're war movies. Some of them are very hard to watch. Up next in our honorable mentions, we have U-571. This is a submarine movie, starring Matthew McConaughey, and Bill Paxton. This is a really good movie. It's one of those almost claustrophobic
Because it's set in a
movies because it's
submarine.
set in a submarine. But it's a really, really good movie. I'm not sure how set in fact it is, but I believe it is based on a true event. So, yeah, it's a really good one. And last in our
Honorable
honorable
mentions.
mentions, we have Braveheart. Daddy, you want to talk about this one?
Braveheart goes back to ancient wars, specifically uh, the Scottish Wars of Independence. Everybody knows Mel Gibson's role in it, and it is exactly it is one of those things that if you like European history, this is a film that you need to see. Loosely based on William Wallace's story, um, but it's an epic drama that if you enjoy those kinds of films, you'll certainly enjoy this.
All right, and now on with our countdown. We're starting off a little bit lighter. We have at number 10, we have Operation Petticoat, a Cary Grant war movie, another submarine movie
Mhm.
about a pink submarine.
Tony Curtis.
Thank you, Tony Curtis. Jamie Lee Curtis's daddy,
Mhm.
is the other lead in
Yeah,
this film.
he and Cary Grant play off of each other so incredibly well. An all-star cast for its time. It is just one of those cute, not really making fun of war, but making fun of some of the idiosyncrasies behind the red tape and the jumping through hoops that you have to get supplies. It's one captain's story. You go through his log of some of the mission that he went through, and it is hilarious in its telling. Cary Grant is great as the straight man. Tony Curtis is he's Tony
Tony
Curtis.
Curtis.
He's just, I
He's just
mean,
Tony Curtis.
he is the stereotypical Tony Curtis role in this, and he is it's very very good.
All right, at number 9, we have Red Tails. This movie starred Cuba Gooding Jr. and Terrence Howard.
Okay.
I
Yes.
the guy that originally played Rhodey in Iron Man. And it is about the Tuskegee Airmen during
Right.
World War II. This movie is awesome. It's a George Lucas, I think, written and directed film, and it's about these I believe they're Army pilots. I
Okay.
believe the Tuskegee Airmen were Army pilots. And please, if we're getting any of this history wrong, please give us the true history down in the comments below. But Red Tails is its cast has an incredible chemistry. The effects when they're flying, it feels like you're in the cockpit. And it's just a really good movie about camaraderie and brotherhood.
Right. Absolutely. And it tells the story of another all black regiment that served our country so efficiently.
All right. At number 8, we have Valkyrie. This film is another World War II movie. It stars Tom Cruise and it's about a plan to overthrow Hitler by some of his own people.
Assassination plot on Adolf Hitler. I don't know how true this one particularly is, but you know, it's loosely based on a true story. It's not too hard to believe based on the history of who we hear that Adolf Hitler was. And so Tom Cruise is very good in it. It's not Mission Impossible goes to World War II. It's got an all-star cast, each of who brings something to the table that really brings a good realism, even if the story might be taking a few liberties.
All right. At number 7, we have Warhorse. But this movie is about a horse that gets basically taken from his owner and used during war. And it's a lovely movie. It was kind of where certain British actors, I think Michael Fassbender is in it. I know Tom Hiddleston is in it. Several British actors are small parts in this movie because we're mostly focused on the horse.
Right.
And like this is one of those movies where you don't need humans too much during it because this horse it just kind of it gets your heart real quick. It's a Steven Spielberg movie, so obviously it's touching and sweet because Spielberg doesn't know another way to be, but it is also a very intense movie. And I will spoil this. It does have a happy ending. So thank goodness. Otherwise, I would not have allowed it on this list. If this movie did not end happily, I wouldn't have allowed it on this list. But it does end happily. The horse is okay. He gets reunited with his owner. It's very, very lovely. Go and see Warhorse. Even though I just spoiled the ending for you, it is very much worth the watch.
It's one of those films again that gives you a perspective to war that perhaps you hadn't considered, regardless of the war, that there were other things besides tanks and airplanes um, and and men and women who were used. I believe there were some dogs and even um, porpoises used in World War II. There, the ingenuity behind men training animals to do some of those roles. I mean, it's brilliant, and it gives you an idea that some of these conflicts were won by very much a team effort.
All right. At number 6, we have Monuments Men. We've actually spoken about this movie before in our top 20 underrated films. All-star cast: George Clooney, Matt Damon, Kate Blanchett, Bill Murray, John Goodman, I think, is in it.
Yes,
Several others, and it is about I think it's nearer the end of World
World
War
War II,
II.
right?
It like the war is still going on, but I think it's nearer the end, and it's about basically these historians who get trained for war so that they can go out into the battlefield and save works of art. That is the most basic of
It,
explanations
it
for this movie.
it's a film that you'd never considered.
Mhm.
You've heard about the fact that Hitler stole all of this incredible art and all of this incredible, um, just creative things from the Jews as he invaded country after country. But you don't hear what the end of that might be.
And
And
the
this
museums
kind of
and things
gives
that
you,
got bombed out
right,
during the
exactly.
Blitz and things like that.
This gives you kind of a closure, so to speak, on that aspect of the war.
Up next, we have Dunkirk, directed by Christopher Nolan. This is one of those movies that literally shakes you
It,
just
it, it
because of
does.
how intense it
It does
is.
because it portrays the reality of war in as close a real way as you possibly can. It puts you on the spot with some of these teenage boys while they're being bombarded by planes above and tanks below, and it tells a riveting it is a riveting story of the horrors of war. Very, very well done.
Very well done. Well done. It won, I think, an Academy Award as
Hmm.
well. I think it has an Oscar or two to its name, and it's well deserved.
Yes.
At number 4, we have The Patriot. This movie stars Mel Gibson and Heath Ledger and Lucius Malfoy. I forgot the actor's name at the moment, and several other actors from the early 2000s. It was written by Dean Devlin, who we've mentioned on the show before, is one of our favorite writer director folks. Check out the Dean demo above either mine or Dad's head to see more on him. And this one is about the
Revolutionary
Revolutionary
War.
War. This one I know for certain is about the Revolutionary War. Specifically, it's about the militia,
Hmm.
one of the militias that was basically hit and runners
Well,
for the uh for our side.
I want to say this is much a fictional tale telling of the militia perspective. The fact that this was just a bunch of farmers and woodworkers and um, just populace of a city who decided to get together, and they were done being told by the British what things were going to happen, and they joined a portion of the Revolutionary War under the direction of a former military leader who Mel Gibson plays, and it's poignant. It does a good job, and by the end of it, you're wanting to sing "God Bless America."
The It has one of probably the most iconic scenes in any of the war movies, with him waving
That American
that
flag,
flag
right?
to
Right.
rally the troops to continue their charge,
Good
even when
film.
it feels like everything is hopeless. I kind of want to watch that again now. Um, At number 3, we have The Great Escape. Daddy, you're gonna have to talk about this one a little bit more.
This is so packed with stars from the '60s.
David McCallum's in this, right?
David McCallum, who just passed away,
Last year.
Ducky from NCIS, Lee Marvin, Steve McQueen is in it, and it is about a prisoner of war camp, I believe in World War II, that has escape plans from its Allied forces that are trapped there, and it you know, loosely again based on a true story, but it gives you a very good idea of what life in a POW camp was like, and also the efforts to get out and to get continued fighting with the battle. It is not Hogan's Heroes
Mm-mm.
by any stretch of the imagination, but it is an incredibly incredible. If you want to have a compendium of male actors from this age, that's the film you need to see. The Great Escape, clocking in at I think over 3 hours long.
Wowie.
Just be prepared to have
And we're a
a
Lord of the
pause
Rings.
button.
We're a Lord of the Rings generation.
Yeah, I get you.
We're used to that.
I hear you.
All
Great
right.
Escape.
At number two, we have Saving Private Ryan. This movie stars Tom Hanks, Matt Damon, Vin Diesel. I was stunned to see Vin Diesel here, but Vin Diesel is here and he does an awesome job. This movie takes us as a unit goes looking for the titular Private Ryan, who is played by Matt Damon. There are also several other actors that have basically cameos in this. Nathan Fillion has a cameo in this. Ted Danson has a cameo in this. Um, and we literally open with D-Day with Tom Hanks on D-Day. I don't think we go through the end of the war, but we follow this unit for the rest of the movie. And recently I've gotten dad and the rest of our family to start watching Band of Brothers.
Hmm.
This movie is Band of Brothers shrunk down into 2 hours.
That's what it was sounding like. Yeah,
And it is
from what I
I
remember.
I will warn you though, bring tissues and just be prepared. This is a hard movie to
Yeah, none of
watch.
these films we really want to recommend for kids.
No, no.
Um,
No child should be watching any of these movies until they are at least 14.
and then you need to meter their maturity level for handling um, gruesome and
And hard
real and
topics. Yeah.
hard topics because war is a hard topic.
Mhm.
War is something that we have been um, involved in since mankind was created, and these films, many of which do a very gritty job of telling those stories.
Yeah.
Just be careful. Just be careful.
All right. And lastly, at number one, we have Midway, the original Midway. Now, it did get a remake a couple of years ago, and the remake is really good. We enjoyed it thoroughly, but the nothing beats the original.
The cover is never good as
Bingo
original.
cards, ladies and gentlemen.
Midway is another one of these all-star homages to World War II. I mean, everybody, Gregory Peck, um, um, Charlton Heston, just
Everybody was in this movie.
everybody was in this film. More males than females, but everybody was in this film. This film, to me, sets the bar for all the other war films out there.
Starts at Pearl Harbor, right?
I believe so, yes. And there are a lot of you out there who's like, well, what about John Wayne's movies, Sands of Iwo Jima, and some of those other Green Berets? I don't remember them well
And
enough.
I've never seen them,
Midway made an impression on me as a high school kid,
and I have seen it.
and it just is. It's cinematic. It's just and the Japanese actors do a great job on it as well. And
Hmm.
it's just it is just it to me is the pinnacle of telling a tale of a battle in the Pacific on sea, and the strategy going in behind. It gives you a look into to the to the headquarters
Hmm.
and how those plans were levied out and how insight into the
The
minds of the
command
generals and
structure.
the command exactly the command structure and how each it was like a chess piece and this movement this move this movement this move and so on and so forth and how that both sides suffered loss.
Hmm.
um, yes, I'm glad that we won. The Allies won in that war, but it also gives you a great hint that nobody wins in war.
Hmm.
Nobody really wins in war, and it's just we started off our video today celebrating those who have served our great country. We can't understand those of you who have been in war zones. most of us can't understand what you've gone through. We salute you. We thank you for your service, for your sacrifice, for your dedication, and um, we wouldn't be the country we are without you. And these films do a very, very good job of generating patriotism as well as telling some of those stories.
Mhm. And that's our list. We thank you for being here. We realized this was probably a little bit more of a more chill crossing
Somber
kin
crossing
than
kin.
we normally have, but with movies like this and wanting to celebrate our veterans, we felt that that they deserved a more serious tone.
Thank you
So
so
thank
much.
you very much for everything
Everything. Yep.
that you've done for our country, veterans, and our servicemen and women who are currently serving, as well as your families.
We couldn't be crossing kin without you. Part of the crossing kin family.
So that's it for us today. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Randy from the Crossing Kin Garage. We'll see you in 2 weeks with another episode of Crossing Kin.
Bye.